Hello everyone, welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live daily on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And I want to thank everyone for joining me for the last trading day of the year. Hello Don, welcome, glad you're here. Alright, before I go any further, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure. All Bookmap Ltd materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure. Trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Here's my contact information. The best way to get in touch with me is through Discord. My name on Discord is Doug P. Also in Bookmap Discord, there's an Options-Doug chat channel that is a great place to post questions, comments, and content related to the topics of my presentation and the topics of the channel that I'll go through in just a moment. I'm also on X, formerly known as Twitter. My name there is @DougPless. The focus of my presentation today and the focus of the Options-Doug chat channel is options order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned in the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range and volatility for the day, as well as a directional bias. And the second step in my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis and for setups for entries and exits. And when I talk about setups today, I will be focusing on an underlying asset, and setups in that asset can be taken any number of ways. For example, the S&P 500 setups can be taken with ES futures, SPY shares, SPY options, SPX options, or even ES options. Questions and comments are welcome. And I will be watching both the Options-Doug chat channel and Discord, as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions and comments. Please feel free to post, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. All right, here's my agenda for today, Friday, December 29th, the last trading day of the year. First of all, I want to go over news items. Then I'll go over my positional analysis from this morning. Then I'll review some setups from earlier today, and then I'll take a look at the live market. And when I get to the live market, if anyone has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know, and I'll be glad to do that. All right, so first of all, news items. There are no economic data or events today. The only thing that I do want to mention, and this is important, is the Bookmap sale going on right now for annual subscriptions. This is going on through January 3rd. I posted the link in Discord, and here it is for everyone to see. You can, if you're on YouTube, I think you can just go to the Bookmap website and find this pretty easily. All right, let's get started with positional analysis now. And the first thing that I want to take a look at is the S&P 500. This is the ES futures in Bookmap. And before I take a closer look at this chart, I do want to take a look at a larger time frame. Look at the underlying index, which is SPX. And I'm going to go to a 1-hour chart here. Again, this is SPX, underlying asset, and it looks like the rally that began on October 30th so far still intact, coming up against the end of the year. All right, let's focus on levels on this chart. First of all, let me zoom in a little bit so we can see this a little bit more clearly. The dashed purple lines are showing the lower and upper weekly expected move. That's updated once a week. I update that over the weekend, and SPX is trading within that range. The dashed blue lines are showing the lower and upper daily expected move, and SPX has tested that lower daily expected move earlier today, and that is right on top of the put wall, which I'll talk about in just a moment. All right, so those are the expected moves for the week, for the day, and both based on the options market. Weekly expected move updated once a week, and the daily expected move updated once a day. All right, the dark red lines are showing Spotgamma levels. These are proprietary Spotgamma levels provided to Spotgamma subscribers, shown on a variety of trading platforms. This is the SPX in Thinkorswim, and I'm going to point out the key daily levels. So first of all, the put wall, as I mentioned, just right here at the lower daily expected to move 47.60. That's a strike with the largest net negative gamma that can be expected to act as support, and so far doing its job today more or less. Looks like SPX is trading just above that level now. The next level up is the volatility trigger at 47.85. That is Spotgamma's proprietary volatility flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, market makers have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to enhance or increase volatility. On the other hand, above that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is positive. In a positive gamma environment, market makers have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to subdue or decrease volatility. And note that gamma notional was positive at the beginning of the day, but now SPX is trading below its volatility trigger. All right, the next level up is 4,800. That's the absolute gamma strike. It's right here. That's a strike with the largest absolute negative and positive gamma, and that's where most of the gamma weighted open interest is concentrated. And then finally, way up at 5,000, that is the call wall. And that's a strike with the largest net positive gamma, and that can be expected to act as resistance. And note that level did move up from yesterday. Yesterday the call wall was at 4,800, and today it's at 5,000. And Spotgamma attributed that move mostly to the addition of puts at 4,800. So remember this: the call wall is a strike with the largest net positive gamma. So that is the call gamma minus the put gamma, and since more puts were added to 4,800, that moved the call wall up to 5,000. So really that level certainly is not in play for today. And the put wall is certainly definitely in play. All right, so those are the key daily levels. All right, let's take a look at one other chart. Let's go to a 1-minute chart. Just so we can focus on the levels in play for the last couple of days. So this is showing 2 days worth of data. The dark shaded area is regular trading hours, And the key levels and focus, first of all, the 47.85 volatility trigger acting as support yesterday, and the SPX closed below that level, just below that level yesterday, then acting as support earlier today, and then as resistance. And price broke below that level. Then here's the put wall at 47.60. So those are the two key daily levels that are in play for today, and the lower daily expected move shown with the dashed blue line. And for shifts in levels for SPX, as I mentioned before, the put wall shifted higher, pretty significant shift higher. Let me check. From 4,500 yesterday to 47.60, and also a significant shift higher with the call wall from 4,800 to 5,000. All right, let's take a look at Bookmap now. So in Bookmap, I have my own cloud notes, so I can show SPX levels and SPY levels and any other levels of interest on my chart. Note here is this cluster of levels. On top you can see the 47.60 put wall. That is the SPX 47.60 put wall. And note there is a difference in price between ES and SPX. And it has ranged anywhere from 45 to 47 today. It's closest to 46, and that's what I'm using. So I'm showing SPX 47.60 at ES 48.06. So ES minus SPX is 46 points. And then note just below that is the SPY put wall at 474. And that's also the volatility trigger for SPY. So right now price is trading above the put walls and also above the volatility trigger for SPY. And that blue line right in the middle of this cluster of levels, that is the lower daily expected move for ES. All right, so those are the levels in play for today. Primarily, again, the put wall, volatility triggers for SPY and SPX, more or less acting as support. Maybe the 4800, ES 4800, closer support. Notice all the liquidity at this level. The heat map and Bookmap is showing a history of the limit orders, a lot of limit buy orders. Excuse me, a lot of limit buy orders just below 4,800 acting as support. And then also this 477 level that was in play yesterday, also acting as resistance today. And a good entry point for a short today. And we'll talk more about setups in a few minutes. All right, so that's the S&P 500 levels in play for today. Let's take a look at Nasdaq now. And for SPY, the only shift in level was the absolute gamma strike that shifted higher to 480. So 480 is the call wall and the absolute gamma strike for SPY. So overall, bullish shifts higher in levels for the S&P 500. All right, here's Nasdaq, NQ futures, and Bookmap. Before I take a closer look at this chart, I do want to focus on, first of all, QQQ levels. This is a one-day chart for QQQ, 1 minute chart. Notice that QQQ is trading below its put wall at 410. And just a few days ago, That 410 level was the call wall. Let's see when that was. On the 26th. So on Tuesday, 410 was the call wall, and now it is the put wall, and price is trading below that level. All right, so that is QQQ. Last time I looked at NDX, there were no levels in play. Let's just take a quick glance. NDX. All right, so it has moved down now. So these combo levels are in range. Double bottom with this combo L3 level acting as resistance. Let me just zoom in on this. All right, so the dark shaded area is the for today, the regular trading hours. And that combo L3 combines NDX and QQQ, gamma weighted open interest, into one level combined here to show the shown in the an equivalent NDX price. All right, let's go back to Bookmap now. There's that combo level that I have shown in my cloud notes for Nasdaq. There's that 410 level, the 410 put wall. And note that 409 is the absolute gamma strike for QQQ. So I'm showing NDX and QQQ levels in my levels here for NQ. And again, we'll talk about setups in a few minutes. So those are levels in play for today. So it looks like on the upside here, really the NQ 100 level acting as resistance and the 950 level acting as support. All right, there were no shifts in levels for the Nasdaq, both QQQ and NDX, no shifts in levels from yesterday. All right, again, we'll talk about setups in a few minutes. The next thing that I want to take a look at is gamma notional to see how market makers were positioned on the gamma curve at the beginning of the day. This is I'm taking a look at a portion of the Spotgamma AM Founders Note. By the way, for Spotgamma subscribers, a very, very good analysis of the current market, especially S&P 500, talking about the JP Morgan collar roll and shifts in levels. So if you subscribe to Spotgamma, be sure and read the AM Founders Note I'm talking about. I'll show you in just a minute the narrative that comes before this data. And if you're not a Spotgamma subscriber, they do offer a free 7-day trial. It's worth a look. All right, so this is gamma notional, market maker's position on the gamma curve at the beginning of the day. Note all these numbers are positive. So what Spotgamma assumes for an index is that traders are short calls, market makers are long calls, hence the positive gamma in this portion of the gamma curve. These numbers did shift around somewhat, but the point here is they're all positive. So again, this indicates that market makers have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure, and that generally tends to subdue or decrease volatility. Let's just take a quick glance at the Vana model. Really nothing to see here. SPX trading right around 47.71. So pretty close to the bottom of the Vana model here, indicating not much of a Vana tailwind. Now there could be a headwind if price starts to drop lower. Market makers delta notional will increase, and they will have to sell futures to hedge their delta exposure. All right, let's take a look at the absolute gamma just to get an idea of the gamma landscape for SPX. I don't recall seeing the slider before, but it is pretty helpful. All right, so this is the market maker's gamma notional. Orange bars showing call gamma or positive gamma. Blue bars showing negative gamma or put gamma. This is the very obvious, the absolute gamma strike, the strike with the largest absolute positive and negative gamma. That's where most of the gamma weighted open interest is concentrated. This is the 5,000 level, really the next highest level of gamma weighted open interest. That is the call wall. And then the put wall, let's see where that is. There it is at 47.60. So that is really not a significant amount of put gamma, but mathematically, if you subtract the orange bar from the blue bar, that is the largest amount of put gamma. But there, of course, there's more put gamma at 4,800, and then 75, 50 at 4,700. Let's take a quick look at SPY, get the gamma landscape. There's the 480 strike. That's very obviously the call wall. Note there's a huge amount of call gamma compared to put gamma. Next highest level at 475, and 480 is also the absolute gamma strike, and just loaded with call gamma there. Take a quick look at QQQ. There's the 409 level, and that is the absolute gamma strike. All right, let's take a look at some setups now. The first thing that I want to do is take a look and see what options traders have been doing today. Let me zoom out. This is the hero signal, hedging impact real-time options. This is available from Spotgamma subscribers, or from Spotgamma, available to Spotgamma subscribers. The hero signal, hero stands for hedging impact real-time options. So everything that we've looked at so far, other than Bookmap, has been based on static data. So the levels on the charts, those are all based on static data. Spotgamma takes open interest data that comes from the OCC once a day, sometime during the night, and they apply their own algorithms to that data to come up with the levels, and also they use data for the vana model, gamma notional. All right, so now we're going to focus on real-time data. So again, this is hedging impact real-time options. The white line is showing price for SPX, and then the purple line is the hero signal, and that's showing options trades and market maker hedging activity for a combined signal of SPX, SPY, XSP, and ES futures, all into one combined signal. Spotgamma does provide separate signals, and I like to look at the combined signal. This gives me the most information anytime I'm trading the S&P 500. A rising purple line indicates traders are taking positive delta positions, When traders take positive delta positions, market makers take the opposite side and they have to buy futures to hedge their delta exposure. On the other hand, when the line is dropping, market makers, zoom out, market makers, when the hero signal is falling, traders are taking negative delta positions, and market makers have to sell futures to hedge their delta exposure. All right, let's zoom in on this chart now. And I want to focus on one setup in the morning here. Let me zoom in on this a bit. Note that I am showing only regular trading hours here. So this begins at 9:30, although ES and SPX options trade before then. All right, so this is showing the total hero signal, and let's separate out puts and calls to get a closer look and see what traders were doing. So the orange line is showing calls, the blue line showing puts. So let's focus on, let me go back. All right, so right around 10:05, traders started selling calls. That's shown by the falling orange line. And then right around 10:30, they started selling calls more aggressively. At the same time, they started buying puts. That's shown by the falling blue line. Note the large vertical line there. There was a large trade of puts. Some large institution buying puts, and price starts to drop lower. So that was really this was the, when they started selling calls, they stopped buying calls, started selling calls right around 10:05. That was the first clue to look for a short setup. And then this drop where both lines start moving in the same direction right around 10:30, that was the next clue. And then the final clue here was this alert, indicating significant options activity. So 3 clues here in the hero signal, signaling a short. And note the level, let's go back, note the level acting as resistance, the 47.85. It's shown as the hedge wall here, but it's the volatility trigger. All right, so separating out puts and calls, in this case, provided way more clarity. All right, let's go take a look at Bookmap now. We'll go back to ES. And I'm going to zoom in here on this, on the morning session. All right, oops, sorry. All right, so remember right around 10:05, traders started selling calls. They stopped buying calls, started selling calls. And that's right at the SPY 477 level. Note also the volume dots, indicating market buy minus sell. Magenta dots indicate more sellers than buyers. So aggressive sellers started to come in at that level. Green dots indicating more buyers than sellers. So obviously right at that 477 level, there were more sellers than buyers. CVD starts to shift lower. That's shown by the pink line here. And then at 10:30, aggressive sellers start to come in right at the 47.85 level, and price begins to move lower. Again, aggressive sellers coming in. There were a few smaller green volume dots, and notice how the magenta volume dots are much larger. Price breaks below the 47.85 level, giving you a great short setup all the way down to the put walls. 47.60 for SPX and 474 for SPY. And then on down to the liquidity below 4,800. So great short setup. Excuse me, a great short setup in the S&P 500. Again, ES futures, SPY shares, SPY options, SPX options, any number of ways to take this. But clear reads in both the Bookmap here and in Hero. Very clear signals for a short. All right, that's the S&P 500. All right, let's take a look at Nasdaq now. All right, let's take a look at, go back to Hero and see what options traders were doing this morning. There was a very clear signal for Nasdaq. Let's just zoom in a little bit here. So just looking at this in the morning, this is a very clear divergent setup. One of my favorite setups. Notice that both price and the Hero signal were pretty flat just until about before 10 o'clock, 9:55. Then options traders started taking negative delta positions. And it really took about a half an hour for price to respond, and then price responded lower. Let's separate out puts and calls. So both lines start moving lower in the same direction right around 10. Again, it takes a little bit of time for price to respond, about 10:30, but then Nasdaq moves lower. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. Going to zoom in. And here's the break lower. Just after 10:30, breaks below the 411 level. And note that CVD, cumulative volume delta, was already trending lower. So when you see that divergent setup, you're really just looking for an entry point for a short. And if you were more aggressive, you could have gotten in at 17,100 or VWAP or a break below 411. And that's NQ 411. And that was good for up to 150 points in Nasdaq. So good bit more movement in Nasdaq than any time this week, really. All right, let's go back to Hero. One other signal that I like to take a look at is the Mag 7. Let me show you what this is. This is also a combined signal. So the Nasdaq signal is a combined signal of NDX and QQQ. This is also a combined signal of the stocks known as the Magnificent Seven: Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla. These stocks make up a very large component of the Nasdaq 100 and also a large component of the S&P 500. So as these stocks go, the indices often go in the same direction. Let's zoom back in on this. So looking at the morning setup, you can see that the hero signal for the Mag 7 also really breaks lower right around 10:30, giving you another confirmation for that short setup. Let's go back to Nasdaq. Go back to Bookmap. All right, so IC says, I feel like you're thinking way too much. This may seem complicated at first, but after a while it makes a lot of sense. So I'm getting to what is actually driving the market, and it is more complicated than looking at simple indicators or moving averages. I'm looking at what is actually driving the market: options trades, market maker hedging activity, large traders with iceberg orders, smaller trades with stop orders, cumulative volume delta. All this is actually based on what traders are doing. And once you understand this, you can, it works very well. It really helps you to read the market more clearly. All right, Wayne says, would it be possible to show on the Bookmap chart where the flow alert happened on Spotgamma? Or if you're talking about automatically, no. Now, as far as the two charts go, I have two screens that I use when I'm trading. Actually, I have 3 computers, but on my main computer I have 2 screens. So I'm watching Bookmap on one screen and the hero signal on the other screen. Of course, I'm only presenting on one screen, so I have to jump back and forth between the two. But trading in real time, it's very easy to see the alerts as they happen. All right, let's take a look at some stocks now. Let's just circle back. So there's the double bottom in Nasdaq, now moving higher, kind of back in the middle of the range for the day. Same for ES. All right, let's take a look at some stocks. First of all, here's AMD. Let's go take a look at Hero. Go to AMD. So note that 150 is the call wall. And several timely flow alerts as Hero made a series of lower highs. I'm going to separate out puts and calls. So notice right around 10:10, traders started selling calls. So that was a, oops, sorry about that. Spotgamma is still working on this issue. Right around 10:10, traders started selling calls. That's shown right here. Timely flow alert. And price makes one more high. And then they start buying puts and selling calls. And price breaks below this trend line here, and we'll see that in Bookmap. So let's go back to Bookmap. There's that trend break. Again, remember 150 is the call wall. Price breaks below the point of control, that's the purple line, as well as VWAP, that's the blue line. So a short setup there in AMD, signaled by both order flow and also hedging flow. 150 the call wall, the key gamma strike, and price breaks below that as traders sell calls and buy puts. Market makers take the opposite side of that, and they have to sell stock to hedge their delta exposure. The next is Amazon. All right, I'll take a look at Amazon, then I'll get to questions. All right, so here's Amazon. We'll separate out puts and calls. And so far today, traders are buying puts and selling calls. And kind of barring this one large trade, puts and calls started trading in the same direction. This is a very powerful directional signal right around 10:30. Total, let's go to Bookmap. Oops. So here's the break lower, right around 10:30. All right, let me get to questions. Gex Rider says one question about QQQs, why they are now offering strikes in 0.78. It is very strange for me. I haven't noticed that. I don't have any trades on at QQQ. I'll take a look at that later. Actually, in Thinkorswim, I have a screen up that I can't. I left that open accidentally, and I can't show that on my webinar here. CWR wants to check out Meta. Okay, we can take a look at Meta. We'll take a look at that next. And GH asks, is it safe to say most icebergs are placed around support and resistance levels? Not necessarily. My observation is that typically large traders, they use iceberg orders to hide their size. They will buy weakness and sell strength. That is the typical behavior of larger traders. And they have, I guess, a really enough larger count, enough staying power to not have to be as precise with their placement of orders typically as smaller traders do. So that may not necessarily be the case. All right, so CWR wants to check out Meta. That's next in the list here. So bearish day here in Meta. Seems to be recovering, double bottom. Let's see what options traders are doing. Go back to Hero. Go to Meta. So kind of a choppy day earlier today. Right around 10:10. The Hero signal spikes up, then drops sharply. Traders start taking negative delta positions. Here's a flow alert acting as a mean reverting. In this case, the flow alert acting as a mean reverting alert. Let's just see what puts and calls are doing. So notice initially traders start selling calls, and then right around 10:20 they start buying puts. Both these, sorry about that. So notice blue line, orange line moving in the same direction. Again, according to Spotgamma, this is a very powerful directional indicator. It's very hard for stock or the index, whatever you're looking at, to move in the opposite direction. When traders buy puts and sell calls, market makers take the opposite side, and they have to sell stock to hedge their delta exposure. And it looks like the 352.50 put wall did act as support. All right, let's go take a look at Bookmap. And the 352.50 level. That's not exact, but that's close enough. More or less acted as support, maybe down to the 352. Well, let's take a look at Microsoft. And Gex Rider, I don't have Tasty open right now, and unfortunately I can't show my screen for Thinkorswim. All right, here's Microsoft. Let's take a look at go back to Hero, see what options traders are doing. So right around 10:30, hedging flow shifts negative. Wrong tool, price moves lower. Let's see what traders are doing. And they were selling calls, again shown by the falling orange line. There's a flow alert. So when traders sell calls, market makers buy the calls, they have to sell stock to hedge their delta exposure. Also blue line and orange line moving in the same direction. Netflix. Also bearish day, flow alert, indicating significant options activity. Price broke below the 485 put wall, and it looks like right now that is acting as support. And I'm not going to separate out puts and calls. That seems to be the kind of the cause of that auto zoom. Let's take a look at Netflix. So price broke below the 485 call wall, did a retest around that level, double bottom, and now the 485 put wall acting as support so far today. So nice short setup in Netflix. All right, let's take a look at NVIDIA. And CWR says NVIDIA did the mother of all turnarounds today, and that's absolutely right. Nice V-shaped recovery. All right, let's see what options traders were doing. Go to NVIDIA. Notice 500 as the call wall, the key gamma strike. I think price reversed just below that level. And right around 10:30, traders, the hero signal was all already trending lower. Right around 10:30, really starts to move lower. Note the timely flow alert. Price breaks below the put wall. That's also the hedge wall, 492.50, and then price reverses higher several points down at 488 as traders start taking positive delta positions. All right, so that's NVIDIA. Then the last, Tesla. And a bearish day here in Tesla, down below the 250 key gamma strike, put wall at 245. Traders taking negative delta positions. Note the flow alert here, very timely, right after the cash open. All right, let's go take a look at the Bookmap. Go to Tesla. Short setup in Tesla, break below VWAP, shown by the blue line there. Another double bottom. All right, Slotarazi says the JP Morgan collar trade done this would be the March 28th expiration, and that is at 3,800, 45.10, and 5,015. So I assume the puts are at long put 45.10, short at 3,800, and then the short call at 5,015. All right, thank you, Slotarazi. All right, let's go back and check on the ES first. ES continues to grind higher, up at VWAP now. Let's check Hero to see what options traders are doing. Go back to S&P 500. All right, so starting right around 12:30, traders started taking positive delta positions. And now this hero signal for the day, the notional value, is just very slightly negative. Let's separate out puts and calls. So for today, they are buying calls, traders buying calls. They're also buying puts. Calls shown by the positive notional value for the orange line, right around 178 million. And then there are buying puts, shown by the negative notional value, minus 163. Go back to the total signal. So net for the day, pretty flat. Let's take a look at next expiry. So these would be options trades that expire today. And that is the notional value for trades that expire today is much more negative. Notional value minus 1.06, that's shown by the green line. That's all trades, all expirations. I'm sorry, that is the next expiration. The blue line, the purple line is all expirations, and the green line is the zero DTE. Those are next expiry, and for the S&P 500, those are trades that you that expire today. So all expirations much more bullish than the zero DTE traders. Whoops. Turn all that off. Go to the total signal. And Abu asked, can I look at NQ also? Sure, let's look at that. So first of all, we'll take a look at Nasdaq, see what options traders doing. And in the case of Nasdaq, much more bearish. Options traders starting around 1145. Hero signal continues to trend lower. And let's just get the total picture, look at the Mag 7. And that is bullish. Starting around 1230, traders started taking positive delta positions in the Mag 7. All right, so let's go take a look at NQ. Back to Bookmap. Whoops. All right, so NQ trading just below now the QQQ 410 put wall. And again, that level was the call wall on Tuesday. And traders again are taking positive delta positions in the Mag 7. And we saw that in some of the turnarounds, especially like NVIDIA. Back to ES. All right, does anyone have any other stocks they want me to take a look at? Please let me know. I've got a couple minutes left. I'll be glad to take a look at any stocks here in Bookmap that I missed, or any other stocks in Hero. All right, let's just do a quick scan. Let's go back to Hero. Quick scan of stocks. So Apple not moving higher. AMD same. Amazon trying to move higher. Google, the Hero signal definitely bullish for the day, most of the day. Started to reverse higher right around 1130. Meta. This is a pretty typical pattern. It happens both in bullish markets and bearish markets as traders take their foot off the gas, and this usually happens anywhere from 10 to 12 or so. Options traders take their foot off the gas, the Hero signal levels off, and price consolidates or starts to move in the opposite direction. So it looks like for Meta here, as options traders have taken their foot off the gas, price is now consolidating. Go back to Microsoft. Netflix. Options traders take their foot off the gas right around 1130. And price now is trying to move higher. Oops. NVIDIA, strong rebound. As CWR pointed out, Tesla, the consolidation after options traders take their foot off the gas. All right, let's go to Bookmap. One final look at the S&P 500. All right, maybe finding resistance at VWAP. All right, I want to wrap this up with a reminder about the Bookmap sale. 30% off of annual subscriptions. You can scroll down and get details below. This is good through January 3rd. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. My time is up. I want to thank everyone for joining me on this last trading day of the year. Everyone have a happy and safe new year, and I will be back on Tuesday. Everyone have a great weekend, happy new year, and I will see you on Tuesday. Bye.